connected space-time, outlining their theory of superspace, a bizarre form of space that exists next door to our space. Fuller and Wheeler's paper is rather too abstruse to go into here, but in a nutshell, they say that the tin field equations of the general theory of relativity suggest that there is an immense region of a peculiar type of space that permeates every part of the known universe. Entrances and exits to and from this superspace exist everywhere, but are incredibly hard to find. Wheeler surmises that these portals in superspace may one day be used as an instantaneous route to the stars and other dimensions. Perhaps one of Wheeler's portals can explain the following story. One uncomfortable, sticky summer night in July 1963, 10-year-old Kathy Hodson, a pretty little girl with long blonde hair and sky blue eyes, was having trouble getting to sleep. Her bedroom on the top floor of the 3-story house overlooked Hampstead Heath in North London. Kathy had been playing on the heath all day, but she wasn't tired. She turned in her bed, punched her pillow, and then settled down, glancing about the room. She looked at the large mirror hanging on the wall. It measured 3 feet in length and 2 feet in width, and an ornate frame of golden leaves ran around it. Kathy was staring at the reflection of the drawn bedroom curtains in the mirror when something happened which would haunt the girl for the rest of her life. A face appeared in the mirror, the face of a blonde-haired girl who looked about the same age as Kathy. Kathy Hodson blinked at the other girl, and a cold shiver ran up her spine. Kathy closed her eyes for a while, gulped, then looked at the mirror again to see that the girl was still there, only now she was smiling. The smile had a reassuring effect on Kathy, but when the apparition faded away, her heart sank. She got out of her bed and bravely inspected the mirror, staring at her own reflection and wondering who the strange visitor had been. She had the feeling that the girl in the looking glass had wanted to be friends with her. But where she saw an uncanny circle of green light flickering on it. Alice appeared, and this time something truly incredible happened. The girl in the looking glass stepped out of the mirror, jumped down onto the floor, and approached Kathy. She wore a quaint, outdated white nightdress, but this time Alice was not smiling. She looked quite somber. Kathy was not the least bit frightened by the visitation because she wanted Alice to accompany her into her parents' bedroom so that they could see her incredible friend. Kathy threw back the covers and left her bed to embrace Alice, but the girl reacted by backing away towards the mirror. "Oh, please don't go," Kathy pleaded. Alice seemed to lose solidity, and slid back into the mirror looking at Kathy. "Don't go, Alice, I won't hurt you," said Kathy. "Please come and play with me." An aura of pale green light shone around the looking-glass girl, and as Kathy came near to the mirror, she said in a soft-spoken voice, "No, don't come any closer. You mustn't." "Why?" said Kathy, stopping in her tracks. "I have not called to play. There is another reason," replied Alice. Kathy did not understand what Alice meant. She watched, perplexed, as the girl in the mirror raised her hand and pointed to the window. "Your friend Gracie is very ill," Alice said mournfully. "You must help her. She didn't listen to what her mother told her. She has taken too many pills the doctor left for her chill. If you don't help her quickly, she will die." Before Kathy could ask Alice how she knew this, the figure in the mirror vanished, and Kathy was suddenly alone again, looking at her own reflection. She wondered what she should do. If she told her mother about Alice, she'd just say the incident had been a nightmare. But Gracie's life depended on her doing something, so Kathy reluctantly left her bedroom, walked along the landing, and after hesitating for a moment, opened the door of her parents' bedroom and woke her mother. "What is it, Kathy?" Miss Hodson asked. Kathy told her mother about Alice and her warning, but Miss Hodson responded to the account by embracing her daughter and saying, "Oh, you are dreaming, darling. Gracie is well, being looked after. She'll be fine, don't worry. You've had a bad dream, that's all." "But it wasn't a dream, it wasn't," persisted Kathy. "Go back to bed, dear. You can go over to see Gracie in the morning. You'll see. She's fine." Miss Hodson patted her concerned-looking daughter on the head and went back to sleep. Kathy left the bedroom and sneaked downstairs to the kitchen. She picked up the phone and dialed Gracie's number, which she knew off by heart. The girl listened to the ringing tone. It seemed to go on forever, but was suddenly interrupted by a click and a woman's voice. It was Gracie's mother. "Hello, Miss Sennett," said Kathy self-consciously. "Is that you, Kathy?" asked Miss Sennett, surprised at such a late call from her daughter's friend. "Yes, Kathy muttered. "What on earth are you doing ringing up at this time of night? You should be in bed. Is your mother there?" Miss Sennett asked. "Oh, Miss Sennett, I must know if Gracie is well. You see, something strange has happened," said Kathy, and she explained in detail what had driven her to make the night call. Miss Sennett's reply to Kathy's story was, "What a lot of nonsense, Kathy. You must have been dreaming. Of course Gracie is all right. The doctor came today and gave her some pills to help her get a good night's sleep. And that's what you need, my girl. Now, hurry back to bed before your mother catches you." "But, Miss Sennett," Kathy tried to get a word in. "Good night," Miss Sennett said and slammed her phone down. Kathy hung up the phone and went upstairs to her bedroom, but she couldn't sleep. She knew she wouldn't be able to get a good night's sleep until she could be sure Gracie there's no need to apologize because it's a blessing she did call. You see, it made me go and check Gracie just in case. I went up to her room. Lucky I did. Kathy had taken the whole bottle of pills. She thought if one pill would make her better, all of them would get her well in time for Christmas. She's been pumped now, and the doctor says she'll be all right. I don't know how Kathy knew, but she saved Grace's life. Mrs. Hodson hugged her little girl and said, I don't know how you knew about Gracie, but you saved